side of American Goons. Just Timbers Hopkins, Void Spirit. Again, this is probably the one lane Void Spirit loses out on. And it's
Can I just
the
say,
only lane he probably loses out on. Yes, sir?
Okay, maybe, what was it, a couple weeks ago we were doing Division 1. Wasn't that long ago. We're doing Division 1 NA, and somebody in chat, I couldn't help but notice, said something like, take a shot every time MLP predicts something wrong, and then just die of alcohol poisoning. And ever since then, everything I say seems to be wrong. Because, you know, even me saying GRIN Esports should be the favorites, and straight away you came in saying, well, actually, they lost 2-0 in the qualifiers to these guys. Not GRIN Esports, rather American Goons. Yeah. See, even that was wrong. What's going
you're
on,
getting
John?
your mistakes wrong.
This guy, whoever it was that typed that, this guy's ruled me forever now, John. I just can't stop thinking about it.
I think you were ruined long before you could say anything. You were ruined long before you said anything, Mike. Yeah. You know, he didn't need to do anything. You were already on the downtrend. So, you know, take that as you will.
Don't take a shot every time I'm wrong, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't do it. You'll be gone 5 minutes into a game.
Anyway, let's start with mid lane. You're going to have Esk versus the Void Spirit. I think you already kind of said this. This is one of the matchups that does not favor Void Spirit very much. And I tend to agree with you on that. I think Esk should have a pretty free time, Jonathan. But would you like to discuss this mid lane matchup a little bit?
Well, you don't really care for the Resonant Pulse Shield because you'll always pure damage through it with your Whirling Death Harass. You've got pretty good right-click trades on the Timbersaw, which is so funny to say, but it is a universal type with 64 base damage up against the Void Spirit's 55, so you can trade pretty well and just right-click Harass. The one thing you do have for Rojo Fireflu is that you did clear out the mid-ward. The early sentry does pay off, so you don't have that early vision advantage coming out here for Esk. And again, you've got potentially Marauder rotations coming in with a Remnant play. You would want to get that done earlier, as once you do have the reactive armor, it's going to be a lot harder to pierce through Esk. So I'm wondering how active we can really see GRIN get early on. For LGTK, that's going to be the key thing. If you can get your Marauder rotating in, say, even for the 4-minute Water Rune, land at Remnant Arrow combination, that's where things can get pretty spicy for GRIN.
In that bot lane, of course, we're having a look at that right now. OGTK, Boris, actually going to get skewered back here by Muzi. Not going to amount to too much, though. A nice arrow from LGDK on the backside of Boris. Kingu's trying his best as the POS 5 Bat Rider to not allow them to get this damage in, but early levels of the Bat Rider can be pretty tough, so he lacks a little bit of impact right now. Nevertheless, if you're Boris, you've got plenty of passive regen just with the Thirst available, so no real problems as mid lane. Rojo Fireflu's having a few issues. Esk just kind of looking to dive him into the tier 1 tower, but doesn't have any points in chain, which is pretty standard for mid Timbersaw, so won't be able to find a kill.
Yeah, just a lot of harassment. Again, this is what we're expecting coming out here, and doesn't get any easier for Rojo Fireflu, so we'll see if any relief comes out, as we are taking a look up top as well. Soul on the very rare Wraith King, along with Salivating Salamander, 37 on the Oracle, up against Lil Nick on his Doom, and Giant on Rubik. Pretty straightforward for Doom, right? You pop Scorched Earth, you devour. Stay in this lane pretty fine. You can harass nicely with a Rubik. Kill threat probably not as big, as you are up against an Oracle and Wraith King, pretty beefy with lots of sustain, but you shouldn't be zoned out from farming either. So this is probably the most passive lane out here, unless someone oversteps. You will just be farming on both sides. Little Nick queuing up the Vanguard. Will likely go for Midas or Octarine afterwards. Typical build-up. Nothing too strange. I'm keen to see what Soul goes for on the Wraith King. He is queuing up the Yoel Armlet, so it should be maybe Armlet Desolator coming out here. And I'm keen to see how much impact this Wraith King can really have, because I guess it works well with Magnus, you know, along with Void Spirit. You have a lot of sustain with just your Reincarnation plus False Promise, so it can be hard to kill off this lineup, but you also did pick the Wraith King, and you got last pick Timbersod, so there's a lot of back and forth that'll go in here, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Fireflu!
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see that one coming, John. I'm not sure what the idea was there. Just maybe feeling a little bit desperate for the CS, because he is 12 CS behind at the moment. But that is just Void Spirit versus Timbersaw. There's not really much you can do about it.
Yeah, it's just a nasty matchup. Rojo Firefly is just going to have to deal with it. You're not getting any relief as well. LGTK is not really able to leave Magnus alone. This is not a lane that you can really leave isolated as well. The Magnus off lane, it's a little bit more susceptible, especially with this build-up. Rather interesting that Muzi did go for like a 1-0-2 build, 2 points in the skewer, where you don't really have setup to skewer someone back. Perhaps just to run away from the Bat Rider when he's threatening. Because Flame Break and Firefly is a significant amount of damage now, but it does mean that you can't really farm the lane as well as you'd want to here.
Yeah, the top lane, they are going in. Almost finding Giant, but quick Fairy Fire, I believe it was, does save the day here. We'll be able to get away just fine. Yeah, just looking at that mid lane matchup, Rojo Firefly again is going to find himself in danger, but does dissimulate out this time. He's forced to go for the level 1 dissimulate to be able to escape Esk, but now with the Chakram up, he's in huge
levels
trouble.
behind, dude.
And yeah, I mean, they're just going to dive him. He should have no way out of this. Esk is just going to go right in, and with the Chakram, he's got the kill. And yet 2 levels behind, it is very hard to fight back, because bottom lane, Pingus, he's going to be fine. Arrow's going to be off the mark. Pingus actually still going with the Firefly, but Salivating Salamander shows up with the Purifying Flames at level 2. It has plenty of damage to deal with the Bat Rider. But I think Boris won't really mind, John. He's top of the CS board right now as the Bloodseeker. And as for GRIN, like they have not been able to find a way to slow this man down.
Nah, they haven't. It's still a great lane for Boris. You've gotten a lot of impact out for your Bat Rider. You get to TP mid now for Pingu to refill Esk, and well, Rojo Firefly, until he gets that Astral Step Up, he'll just always be under threat like this.
Oh, he goes in. He'll pick up the Illusion Rune. Esk is actually in danger now as they're going to turn it. All right, massive pickoff now for GRIN as... Oh, they mess up a little bit there, the goons. John, it's... You know, that's a big kill to take. Rojo Firefly now almost level 6, and... Yeah, I thought he was crazy for going back in, but they had both supports there, and well, sadly for our Timbersaw, he kind of just feeds his life away.
Yeah, and you also just TP it in as Pingu's there, so he's gonna have to walk back into a lane, which means you've again don't have relief on the side lanes for quite a fair bit of time, which should provide some openings for the side of GRIN. I think the key takeaway still is that strong lane for Boris still does stand. The Bloodseeker's not going to be zoned out anytime soon, and your Doom off lane is managing to farm alone just fine. Lil Nick with a Vanguard isn't under any sort of kill threat, but I have to say, this is a really great start for GRIN on the supports. Like, getting some movement out from Salamander and from LGTK does pay off. This is what they need mid. Now Rojo does have the Astral Step, so he's not going to be under too much kill threat on Esk unless he cops maybe a couple of spells that he shouldn't, but overall, it should be much more manageable for the Void Spirit now.
It's such a shame for Esk considering the lead he had against Rojo, as they are going to go in again. Rojo dropping very low, but now the Starfall is there. Esk, I mean, he's got 20 stacks of reactive armor, but still taking so much damage here from the supports of GRIN. Is forced to back off. They are going to try and fight over the 8-minute power rune timing, it seems. So important for any one of the Spirit Heroes, of course. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Rupture committed on Muzi, but they don't have a stun, so he just TPs away. You don't have the lasso yet up on the Bat Rider. And going back to speaking about our mid matchup for a bit, like, Esk is not going to be too happy considering how well of a start he had. And now the fact that it feels much more even. Rojo Firefly, he does have a step charge. He's just waiting out for this, ends up using the Resonant Pulse instead, but now Pingus is here, does step away in the end. And Esk, he almost ends up going down on the Timber.
He's gonna need something like, I don't know, a Casual Hood of Defiance or something just to sustain true here. It's a lot of, it's really the magic damage doing him in. This level 3 Starstorm is just nuking him down along with the Oracle with the Purifying Flames. Like, that is not damage you can ignore on the Timb. So some sort of magical resist would be helpful. Esk is just going for the standard Sanjin Kaido. So this magic damage will stay effective for quite a fair bit of time. Maybe the aura comes from elsewhere. Maybe you get a pipe on, say, Lil Nick down the line, but that's still a ways off, and you're going for the standard Doom Midas, so any sort of magical damage barrier is going to be... It's going to be a long time cooking, and I think GRIN, they're going to use that to their advantage. You know, just constantly press forward with these two supports,
Yes.
harass out mid.
Mid lane, nice Aether Remnant here from Rojo. Esk in danger is going to drop. Salivating Salamander, able to pick up his 3rd kill of the game on the Oracle. And, oh, Esk, it's got to feel so bad. But the start you had into this, it's just not good. It's now Muzi. Rupture is there. He's got another TP available if he needs it. He actually skills back in for an RP, which was well and truly off. So Muzi's going to go down. Now Boris in danger. It's the Bloodseeker. Going to be all right. Just runs out of there. Just movement speed way too quick. I'm just not sure what happened to Muzi, because he had a TP available. But he completely whiffs the skewer RP. And when I say whiffs, John, the RP, he had about a second to react to stop that. And it just went through.
Yeah, that's a little bit awkward. He skewered back as well instead of maybe skewering away.
He's going to be all right. He steps the... Oh, I say that. Esk is still chasing. There's no step charges left now, so Esk just needs one chain. But he's a little bit afraid here because Salamander has shown up once again and Esk is gone. This Oracle proving to be so potent right now as Giant getting jumped as well here on the Rubik. But he's going to be just fine. They don't have the damage output nor the control. Ooh, the arrow almost lands, but not quite.
And Giant regens back to full, thanks to a couple of Purifying Flames. So the heal is there from Salivating Salamander onto the Rubik. More than happy to receive that. No problem here. Giant gets to soak down mid. Again, the magic damage is an issue for Esk. I'm still a little bit surprised he's just going Sanj and Kaya instead of like literally any magic resist early on to mitigate this, but we'll see. He's being punished heavily. Just the Oracle alone has been more than enough to handle that. But again, that puts all the emphasis mid. You've got a free lane for your Doom. Lil Nick has the Midas now, is just farming freely up top, no one to contest him. And you still have this really good farm coming out for Boris anyway. Even if Esk starts to slow down a bit, like your cores that need farm are finding that farm relatively freely. Like you're dragging your Wraith King down bot to apply laning pressure with the armlet. You can get a push going, but you know, you don't have your Deso up yet. It's not the key timing for a Wraith King to show up on the map this early. So, you know, it's not like you're sitting back clearing out all the jungle with your Skellies. You're forced to be in a lane and do something, and it's a lot less free farm in comparison to what you're getting out from your Doom, what you're getting out to an extent even your Bloodseeker.
Mid lane, a fight over power runes again. This time around, it's going to be top side, so Esk does just take it for himself. 2k advantage the wave, the Radiant, though that is all on Lil Nick basically. They're kind of the saving grace for the team at the moment. This bottom, they are going to lose Pingus on the Bat Rider. Soul able to pick that one up, and I'll tell you, like, Soul's going to be quite scary on this Wraith King. Considering this hero is generally not the quickest farmer, but with Empower, he's not going to struggle too much as Lil Nick top lane. Immediately just committing the Doom here on the Mirana. And, well, he's actually outrunning them, but it won't matter. LGDK is still going to drop. He actually had the option of running into the Aether Remnant and just denying the Doom the kill, but decides better of it and just runs forward and ends up dying anyway.
Yeah, it's not the biggest kill to get, but, you know, you put Doom used up at the least so you can kind of be happy, just sit back, farm a little bit more. Crimson Guard flying out now for Lil Nick as well. A little bit more protection from this physical lineup. And that should put a bit of a dent in what the Wraith King will want to do in the middle of these fights. You are still seeing Esk do a pretty good job when he is in a solo lane. Robo Firefly is still being shoved away. As long as the supports don't connect, you can still handle this Void Spirit.
Yeah, he's going to be fine. Esk gets onto the high ground and he's going to keep chasing, but with the Astral Step charges, there shouldn't really be too much of a chance that Esk actually gets his kill. And they are rotating supports in. Rojo is taking his sweet time to step out of this. Has one more, we'll commit it. It's like he just wasn't confident against the Timbersword, just chaining, you know, behind him the whole time. And eventually, The goons, they will give up on it. No point trying to chase down the Void Spirit. I mean, it's hard to know who's really winning this game. Like, even with the 3k advantage, it doesn't really feel like the goons are that far ahead. I guess for GRIN, you are kind of looking to just buy more and more time for Soul until he gets to that stage where he can start one-shotting supports. Which is coming. Like, the Desolator's almost up now. That's around the time he can start to get active, but he might want to blink first as well. Like, you might want either a blink or some kind of defensive item before you do get involved with your team. Or they might just go down bottom tier 2 now. Like, Boris is hanging around there as the Bloodseeker. Scan is off the mark. Eventually they will see Boris defending the tier 2, but they probably won't go for the dive in. I say that though, they are rotating back in. Pingu's around to help out, but the jump is there. Boris is going to be targeted as a very nice Aether Remnant does catch. Meanwhile, a lasso committed on Soul. False promise out immediately to make sure he's alright. Boris, however, finding Rojo Fire Fluid, now Soul's in danger. He will eventually go down. That's the first life going. Eventually they should have the second as well. Okay, the Doom was a little bit unnecessary, I think. Salivating Salamander, though, still making him still stay pretty healed up as Little Nick trying to run, but the RP is there from Muzi. It's just not going to amount to much, though. It's very defensive here from GRIN. As the RP stolen from Giant. Maybe he's right against Muzi, but he'll go for a TP play out. They've got the damage. They won't even need the stuff.
They still had that War Stomp just in case coming out there from Lil Nick. And that team fight turns on its head. Boris, really great use as bait. His team there to back him up. That early TP out from Pingu's kind of providing them some space to get that response. Rojo just respawned.
Yeah, he did, and he's almost dead. Step charge is available. Flame Break is not going to land, and with Salivating Salamander behind him, he's going to be okay to be kind of healed up here by the Oracle, but you do have a massive issue in Lil Nick now. Like, this Doom is getting a bit too big. And right behind him is the Bloodseeker, so, you know, just a minute ago I was asking who was really in the lead in this game, and now I think I can confidently say it is probably American Goons. They are going to jump in again. Onto the Oracle this time around. Salivating Salamander going to try to run, but the Flame Break's going to knock him right back into their arms, though I say that Rojo Fire Flute looking for a jump in, but not able to do too much. He's going to have to watch his Oracle die. Maybe finding a trade here against Pingus, but Esk is just zoning them out. Jump in from LGTK.
Ooh.
He's going to jump away, but Esk with a haster is just going to chase him down. But they can't really deal with the timber. So Esk, he gets away with a little bit more now. And GRIN, I mean, they're trying to be greedy with these small little plays, but they're not paying off.
No, it certainly isn't. I think for the side of GRIN, you just have to sit back and farm. You know, find what you can on your Raid King, get some build up on your Magnus as well. The one issue in this lineup for GRIN is that they don't have the best aura carrier. Right? In comparison here from American Goons, you've got Lil Nick just reliably without really Crimson Guard saving them in that last fight. He's going to go into the BKB Shivas, so not as many auras, but still one more aura than GRIN currently has. Because Muzi's going to be going for the Harpoon, which he's almost got up. You can start to play with some Harpoon skewer backs now, but you don't have anything to boost the HP of your entire team. You're still relying on just Salivating Salamander to not get caught out and just provide that false promise, provide the magical damage to deal with that Timbersaw. And when he's bursted down, it's just a big opening for the side of the American Goons. They do start Roshan here, not a slow process at all. GRIN will smoke out, but they're all the way across the map. They can't really reach into that area all too well by Roche.
Yeah, Roshan should be quite free here for the Goons. No contest. GRIN, I don't think even know this is happening. Maybe realizing a little bit too late as Roshan does officially now go down. Forrest the one to take the Aegis for himself. GRIN, they're just going to try and take the time to push in the mid-tier 1 tower. Soul will do it by himself with the Deso now up and the Skelly army. Does get away with it, but certainly a pretty big win for American Goons, getting away with the first Roshan. And now with the blink up on Pingus as well, you've got even more initiation on the way as the Bat Rider. It's looking pretty tough for GRIN. Like, They've got some decent timings on this Wraith King, but he's pretty much the only one that's had a good time. And when I say good time, he's still behind Lil Neck. He's still behind our Bloodseeker. So, yeah, the good time is kind of relative in this game one.
Yep. It's still a good position for the goons. I think the side of GRIN. I mean, they've hit their timing. You got the Orb of Destruction out along with the Desolator, so you can melt heroes. You can pretty much one-shot. I'm not sure if you can one-shot through the Crimson Guard, so I'm very curious to see that. But you're pretty close to it. Full smoke out here from the goons.
Here we go. Soul, he'll be alright to run out, I think. Instead, however, they're going to find Salivating Salamander. Not quite as big of a kill, but I'm sure they'll just take it for free. Oracle does go down very, very simply here. Doesn't even bother trying to protect itself. Meanwhile, mid lane, they've even got the Magnus. Now, this is the kill that you're going to feel quite bad about as GRIN. Because you just saw your Oracle die. You don't respect the mobility of the goons, and suddenly they're in your face, taking another kill away from you. And the Pulse 3 Magnus, much bigger than the Pulse 5 Oracle.
Yeah, it's a much more impactful in terms of net worth, but I feel like Oracle is actually your top priority pick-off at the start of these fights, just because these saves are big to take away. Like, if he was still alive, stuck next to the Magnus, you probably wouldn't be able to find it. That kill off the Magnus, and probably not able to find even the Oracle when they're together there. So managed to isolate well, still.
Yeah, jump in, Salivating Salamander now in danger. Moonlight Shadow giving him a little bit of protection, but no, they just take him out. Doom out onto the Void Spirit as well, so he's got no game available. This team fight as Soul's been caught on the Wraith King, getting absolutely annihilated here by the goons. And second round for him, he's going to try and armlet toggle his way out of this one, but they're just going to hold on for the thirst. Just for a little bit, Boris enjoying the movement speed, trying to find a little bit more, but could not quite yet. Though I say that, Rojo now gonna get ruptured up, gonna kill himself off to Boris. The goons finding another successful team fight as they do move into the bottom tier 2 tower. Not really much in the way of defending this if you are the GRIN Esports. It is just gone.
I like that little move out from Giant. Blinks forward, stands in the middle, trying to figure out, can I get away with a Wisdom Rune? Takes it in the end as well. Like, you know, it's small stuff like that on top of just finding these kills that are making the goons feel really good. For the side of GRIN, and again, we're not seeing that same performance here from the close qualifiers, man. And the side of the goons are just crushing this game, 14-6, 15k net worth advantage. They might lose Boris if they're not careful. They do manage to get the shard without losing anyone. Very close. I mean, he has Aegis, but I don't think you'd want to pop Aegis from the Tormentor.
No, I dare say you wouldn't.
I mean, it sounds funny, but
I mean, it is fun.
Probably not the best.
He probably could get away with it. That's the thing. Like, the way this game's going, he probably could do it and still win the game. So the state of the game is not good for GRIN. You know, you don't exactly have a draft that's known to make big comebacks. Like, this Wraith King pickup is already quite left field, let alone, you know, making a pretty big comeback in this game one. And I don't want to doubt Soul too early on, John, but it's not looking too good for him.
Nah.
Jump in. Lasso is out. They caught the Oracle this time around, and that's the one target you really love to start with in a team fight. Is just get rid of that Pulse 5 Oracle. Make sure they don't not have that that defensive support capability anymore, and all the goons, they're just going to go for the top tier 2. There's just nothing to stop them.
Yeah, they're just going to be able to rip it apart. Without the Oracle, you just don't feel confident in trying to get any openings here on the side of GRIN. Perhaps once this blink is up on Muzi, that's where the game kind of shifts gear. You know, you rely a little bit more on that Magnus to start these fights off for you. You get that blink RP. The game opens up a lot more. We'll see what opportunities present themselves here as that blink is up and running for Muzi. Although losing Rojo like that is a bit rough.
Yeah, not the best scenario here as he, you know, just gets doomed up by Lil Nick and is taken down. GRIN, they are yet to get into the double digits here for the kills. Like, it's 16-6 right now, 19k advantage the way of the American goons. They're going to try and fight mid lane. Boris gonna get RP'd
one-man
immediately,
RP.
keeping in mind he's in a bit of danger here and is actually gonna go down. That's a big pickoff.
What?
In fact, they even find more. Nice skew round from Muzi.
What?
He's gonna find another target.
The harpoon's not disjointed by blink. He blinked out. That
No,
was a
it's not.
long-ass range. That is just ridiculous.
You get dragged back. That is correct. You do not get disjointed by blink.
That is so dumb. That was... that looked funny. That looked very funny as they go for the smoke here. Not very funny for the goons to lose 2 heroes like that, but seeing the blink, they should be able to readjust themselves just a little bit. And
I mean, that
that
really shouldn't be happening for American goons, right? Like, those are pretty big pickoffs to just give away like that.
yeah, it's the blink effect. Like they didn't scout it out on Muzi. He manages to get a lot of value out of it, getting 2 kills off the back of that reveal. So goons now, they have to adjust. They have to respect that blink RP. This complicates the high ground for the side of goons, as this was where the Magnus can shine really well. So we'll see. We'll probably have to wait for another Roshan, maybe a Roshan or 2 actually, in order to look for that opportunity high ground. But they should still be able to find the tier 2, and they'll go for a smoke play now, knowing RP is down.
Here we go. He was looking to try and make some form of a play, but good back off here from GRIN Esports, not giving the opening away. Mid-tier 2 tower now going to be the target of the goons.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Boris about to have his smoke broken. Salivating Salamander not going to be spotted out. Then I think they saw Rojo fire through for a moment, but they're going to miss out on him as well. Get some time to just de-ward this high ground.
Dire's middle tower is under
Mid-tier 2 tower is still dropping. Hopefully Boris will come in and clean it up.
Radiant's bottom tower.
The thing is, like, considering you just lost a carry, like, you really don't want to lose the next team fight if you are the side of the goons, and they're going to commit an RP here by Giant. Right onto Muzi. He's going to drop mid lane. Salivating Salamander going to get ruptured up here as the Oracle. We'll still be able to run away though with the False Promise, but should probably just stop walking at this point. See, we'll barely survive. He was still risking his life at the end, but very confidently walking around.
Yeah, it's
Bottom. Rojo. Oh, he's been lifted. Giant's got him. Doom's out immediately by Lil Nick. No messing around. Deny attempt is not going to work out. Lil Nick's got it. Meanwhile, mid lane, they try to jump in. They try to take a team fight knowing the full squad is not there by American goons. But they can't really deal with the Timber. They can't deal with the Bloodseeker. At the very least, they do get their Wraith King out of there, but you know, it's kind of hard to take a fight right now if you're GRIN Esports. Brighter side is that the mid-tier 3 does not even go down because they don't have enough damage right now.
yeah, and they've still got RP, so they can go for a smoke play out. Without Rojo, this might be a little bit tougher. But you do have, again, that blink RP. It's the one big tool they've got to take these team fights. See if they find someone here.
They barely miss out on Esk, but Boris is an even bigger kill if they can find the Bloodseeker. Oh, Boris barely avoids. In fact, I say that, no, they ping him out. They know he's there. Wraith Fire Blast is going to land. Muzi in with the control with the RP. And he is just gone. Boris is down. The twin gates, I mean, you see the goons coming through now, but it's maybe a bit too late. Like, to take the fight without their Bloodseeker could be quite detrimental for them. And I suppose the one thing that I'm not really liking from the American goons, like, they're almost 20k ahead, and then they just split up. They're like all across the map. And it's like, it's great for farming efficiency, but you're 20k ahead, just, you can group up as a team and just keep pressuring them.
Yeah, they should be able to take more. Like maybe start to think about high ground, like especially now with RP down. It should be their opportunity to try and look for an objective. Half a minute till Roshan, maybe just wait for that when Boris is back up as well. But the side of GRIN, they're starting to posture around as well. They understand that, you know, there's still a minute until day. Roche could respawn early. Top control is going to be really important here. They get a good scan out as well, understanding that they are just standing around on the gate. And they do scout rush, not yet up. So they've got a fight opportunity on their hands here for GRIN. No RP, but even just a harpoon skewer back at this point could be impactful. Still, they actually back off quite hard with Boris back up, and that puts American Goons in a position to just rush on.
That it does. They're going to get started on the Roshan quite easily here. There'll be no contest, I don't think. GRIN Esports running all the way across to the other side of the map. Not feeling quite confident. Even if they knew, I don't think they'd necessarily take the fight right now. That's going to be a free Roshan once again to the Goons. Second Roshan of the game. So you've got an Aegis Cheese on the way. I mean, GRIN, they're not out of the game yet, but it does feel like it's the American Goons' game to lose. Like, they are waiting for the Goons to make a big error here in this game to have an opening for themselves. Although I say that, the win rate is still quite high in the favor of American Goons, though not as high as I would have expected. Yeah, I probably would have expected 80+% for the American Goons, but it's not quite the case.
Yeah, I think it's down to the fact that earlier on as well, even when they had this, I think 8K lead, we saw like a 48% win probability or 50% on the side of Goons. It probably just boils down to having a lot of unkillable heroes on the side of GRIN, having this RP threat on high ground push. There's a lot of factors that make this a bit of a harder game for Goons to close out. And GRIN has managed to find some space to clear out a bot tier 2 here. High ground is being shoved in slowly on the side of Goons, but you need to take care of two big heroes. You need to take care of the Oracle and the Magnus. And that's easier said than done. Like, ideally, I think the play is Doom up something like the Magnus and lasso out the Oracle. If you can somehow coordinate that pick off from the high ground, then that's where you can start to think about these objectives. Without those kills, it's just, you can't group up here. You know, and if you can't group up, you can't push. If you can't push, you're stuck in a game that's just kind of passive like this.
Yeah. Well, GRIN, I mean, they're still holding high ground at the moment as 3. The Goons grouped up as well as a unit, but not without Lil Nick. Like, Lil Nick's just farming bottom, just defending that bottom lane at the moment, as they are going to move in onto Sol. Sol would be a great pick off here on the Wraith King, and looks like he's really got no way out of this. Should lose the first life quite easily. His team is trying to get there to help him out for the secondary life, and they are going to make it in time. It seems they are going to go for a lasso or double lasso out into the RP now from Muzi. Well, Boris has dropped for the first life at least. Lil Nick has made his way over and does commit the doom now onto the Wraith King. Sol is gone. No buyback available on that Wraith King as well, as Muzi puts himself on the high ground. LGTK, I mean, he's trying to run. Lil Nick's got him though, controlled up. Wraith Fire Blast from Giant. That's going to be a third, or rather fourth kill for GRIN. Because now they can certainly look to go high ground.
No RP threat means an open siege coming out here for the Goons. All it took was a fight outside. They commit very hard onto Boris. Really good disruptive use of the lasso coming out from Pinguis, forcing out the RP. And now they just get to rip apart the objectives. No problems coming out from Goons. They could gun for tier 4s, but respawns are fairly short. So they'll just play it safe. Looks like they will gun for another set of racks down south. Inside of GRIN, even with the respawns, I mean, without the threat of RP, it's a lot harder. You can maybe look for a skewer back for the harpoon, but RP's really been the one key piece of control that has been giving them these fights, and doesn't feel like you'll be able to find too much. Goons will respect the response though. Not gonna give any openings, but yeah, as long as RP's down, there's not much of a threat here.
25k advantage now standing. GRIN need to find that opening we talked about, but very, very challenging. Like, you already see Sol, he's going for the AC and he's queued up a Divine Rapier. Feeling as though it's one of those games where you just need to go with the all-in play, and I would certainly agree with that. GRIN might smoke up at the right time. In fact, they'll pop the Moonlight. There's only 4 heroes here from the goons because Boris has TP top lane and did show on the creep wave, so they know he's not there. Jump in, Mersey trying for the skewer back with the harpoon, but S does have the BKB. That's the rotation kind of used up by GRIN. Sadly, it was seeming like the goons already kind of were aware that this was happening. Soul's still farming mid lane though. He's going to be fine to back off.
It's funny. I don't know if we'll ever see this, but because there's an active on reincarnation, I believe it is something you can spell steal now, and you could probably get the Ags upgrade for Giant, and he is going on to the Ags. I mean, I don't think we'll see this in this game, but theoretically, you could steal reincarnation, have the Ags reincarnation for your team, and you wouldn't care about RP afterwards. I mean, you'd still die, but you can get a lot of kills afterwards, so could be interesting. Not happening, but could be funny.
It could be. Top lane.
Top tower is under attack.
The push has started. Like, GRIN, they're not in position to defend this right now. TPs are incoming though. They're going to get there eventually. Esk is the only one frontlining, of course. So they've got to deal with the Timbersaw somehow. They'll jump in. Skewer is there, but a nice lift back from Giant. Not going to allow the skewer back as now the lasso is out. They caught the Oracle. That is going to be Salivating Salamander going down, but he's brought back into the fight. Giant, all right to back off. Soul will do the same. There's actually no Doom committed that team fight, so they could think about trying again. So they did see the buyback from Salivating Salamander, so they might think about just leaving this one. But with 5 heroes still up, I feel like you want to go. Especially with the Doom still available on Lil Nick. He's probably making the call to go fight. Soul's going to jump in now. Trying to go after Esk, but Esk is such a tanky target on the Timbersaw. He's going to be just fine.
Oh.
They do jump in with the skill back on Boris, but he's going to be able to survive through this for now as well as Boris. No, an RP. Boozy, he caught 3 targets for Giant. He steals the RP away, turns it right back onto the heads of GRIN. Muzi and Rojo Fireflu are gone. Giant will get the tip. And so he deserves it, John. Perfect reinitiation here from the Rubik. Salivating Salamander now trying not to die back. Rojo should probably do the same though. He's dropping quite low, but will he be able to simulate out? Meanwhile, we've lost LGDK. He's gone. GRIN trying their absolute best to defend this top lane of Barracks, but it is not looking too good for them. At the very least, the goons probably will not go down to the bot lane to try and get Megas. So 2 racks is up.
Nah.
But the game's nowhere near over yet. GRIN still have a chance of trying to make a comeback.
And they do. They can hold high ground pretty well with their lineup. I have to say, Giant's performance in this Rubik has been insane. He's just been on point. The lift back to break the skewer on that earlier fight, and the stolen RPs 2 or 3 times now in this game. Just an absolute performance coming out on his Rubik here. And he's done a fantastic job in just making this game hellish for the side of GRIN to get anything done. Like he has been a massive issue, and he's been so far back that you can't even find a Rubik in the middle of these fights. He's just a million miles away with that Psychic Headband and the Aether Lens up. So, some issues to take care of on the side of GRIN. They'll take the Tormentor. They get the Reign of Destiny out from Salivating Salamander now. So a little bit more heal coming through in all of these fights. Roshan, a little bit longer here as well. 2 minutes 15 on the respawn. So it will spawn south on daytime. And it does look like you have pretty decent control on GRIN to just keep shoving in bot. That's the one lane they've cleared out the tier 2. So they could actually look to sneak Roshan themselves if they just stay in this area for the next 2 minutes. But you're probably not staying static in that area for 2 minutes. So we'll see. Again, if they do manage to hold that position somehow, Roshan could be the one thing GRIN has to drag them back into control of this game.
The goons just very, very patient here in this game 1. Perhaps from their previous experiences here with GRIN Esports, just paying absolute respects to this team. They understand how quickly things can turn. Soul's almost got the Divine up. He can go by the Demon Edge right now if he wants to. And he will. Divine is on the way though, Lil Nick. Kind of showing him why it was better he didn't just have it a second ago, as he is going to go down. He immediately turns the courier around as well. Soul's like, no, get that courier out of here. On the brighter side, he won't lose the Divine Rapier, but on the negative, he doesn't have buyback gold. So there's that.
Yeah, at the least, his respawn's still fairly short, just a minute, so he will be back up. He'll be able to contribute in these fights once more. No problems coming out there. Smoke out from the side of Goons. I mean, that's still a big opening, despite it only being a minute of a window. And they can siege that last tower if they wanted to. Still have to respect the RP. See what they do here.
They're going to try and make the jump in, I think, here. The Goons. 35 seconds without a Wraith King. They're seeing an opening to go for that final lane of barracks safely without Roshan. It's going to be a very painful 30 seconds for our Wraith King. Soul is not going to enjoy what he sees. There goes the tier 3 tower. But they're still just being so cautious about it, though. They're just letting Esk do all the work on the timber. So with the flamethrower up, he's got plenty of damage for these structures. Not quite enough to get the structures down before the Wraith King does respawn, though. And this is where I think the Goons, they're being maybe a little bit overly cautious. Because it's like, why not just get the Megas before the Wraith King? I suppose, to be fair to them, they don't know that buyback isn't available, but again, you're 33k ahead. You know, it's a big lead.
Shadows take us.
Oh. They should have seen
Moonlight
the
Shadows
Divine
bombed.
now.
Elevating Salamander. This is not the guy that wants to die first, but he is on the front lines with the Moonlight Shadow, though he is about to wear off, and the jump in is there. Lil Nick, he sees the right target. Salamander, he'll at least get the False Promise off in time, but I highly doubt he survives through this. He's going to try and heal himself up, but he is just down. So they've even found Soul. GG has to be called if he dies. First life is gone. Muzi also caught out, trying to fight with the RP. He's going to land it on 2. But has no follow-up from Soul, who's really just not doing enough damage. Trying to take down Esk, but the Divine Rapier damage is nothing. That's it, GG's call. Esk got an Ultra Kill to end things off, and all the Goons already, you know, pulling off a pretty big difference from their previous series against GRIN Esports. John, last time around getting 2-0, this time around they take the first game of the series.
And they look really convincing.